What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and I'm already doing a Cyber Dragon deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck is an extremely nostalgic deck that summons out Cyber Dragon and all of its awesome forms to help you go in for game. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name scratched in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. This card is definitely a 3-of in the deck. It has an awesome effect that if you control no monsters and your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, getting you an awesome boss monster out on your side of the field that you can use for fusion plays or XZ plays or just go in for game with Cyber Dragon. We then play 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Core. Cyber Dragon Core is the best normal summon in the entire deck because when this card is normal summon, you can add a Cyber Speller Trap from your deck to your hand, which is an awesome ability to grab the exact card that you need. We then play 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Hertz. Hertz is really good as a 3-of in the deck. This card has the effect that if this card is sent to the grave, you can add one other Cyber Dragon from your deck or your graveyard to your hand, which is a great effect to grab the exact card that you need for this card's effect. This card is definitely a 3-of in the build and just a really helpful card. We then play 2 copies of Nashter. Nashter is definitely a 2-of and has a really cool ability that this card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard, just like your copy of your Core and your Hertz. All 3 of those monsters actually share the common effect that they become Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard, which is a really cool effect and actually an awesome interaction between your copy of your Hertz and the rest of them, because if you have, say, a copy of Core in the graveyard and your copy of your Hertz can grab one out of the graveyard, you can actually grab your copy of Core because it counts as Cyber Dragon while in the graveyard, but you do have to grab a copy of Cyber Dragon from the deck off your copy of Hertz's ability because they don't count as Cyber Dragon while in the deck. These 3 just count as Cyber Dragon while in the field or in the graveyard. But your copy of Nashter has a really cool ability that you can discard one of their monster to special summon this card from the hand, and if this card is normal or special summon, you can actually target a machine monster with 21 attack or defense in the grave and special summon it. Also, you cannot summon monsters the rest turn, except for machine monsters, which is not that big of a deal because that's usually all we're summoning anyways in the deck. We then play a single copy of Cyber Dark Chimera. Cyber Dark Chimera is definitely a 1-of in the deck. This card is amazing in the build because it actually searches Power Bomb by discarding a Speller Trap from your hand to the grave, and also has the ability you can only use Dragon or Machine Cyber monsters for fusion material this turn, and also once, when you fusion summon this turn, you can also banish monsters from your graveyard as material, basically turning your copy of Power Bond into an Overload fusion as well, which is amazing. We then play 3 copies of Disablaster. Disablaster is an amazing new card that we actually got out of Infinite Forbidden, and this card is broken in the deck because it's actually a level 5 light machine extender, and it actually special summons itself. This card, if it's in the Pendulum Zone, negates any card or effect activated in this card's column, basically being an infinite impermanent, which is a really cool ability. Also, if there is a column with no cards, you can special summon this card from your hand to a zone in that column, which is a great ability to instantly special summon this card out to your side of the field. This card also has the effect that basically it negates the effects of any card activated in the column being a walking infinite impermanent. And if this card in the monster zone is destroyed, you place this card in the Pendulum Zone, which is not that big of a deal because then you're going to get the negate when it's in the Pendulum Zone as well, which is really cool. This card also has 500 attack points, so it is a machine dupe target as well, which is absolutely broken about this card, and I love that about this card, that it just helps you instantly get another monster out on your side of the field. It's a negate, and it's exactly what Cyber Dragon needed. We then play 2 copies of Galaxy Soldier. Galaxy Soldier is really good as a 2-of, as you can send one other light monster from your hand to the graveyard to be able to special summon this card in your hand, and then search another copy of Galaxy Soldier from your deck to your hand, getting you another level 5 monster to be able to go in for your plays. We play a single copy of Karnat the Eternal Machine. This card is a great 1-of in the deck, and I absolutely love this card, as it cannot be normal summoned or set. It must first be special summoned from your hand to your grave during a duel in which your opponent has activated a monster effect in their hand or graveyard. Basically, if your opponent hand traps you, you can summon out this card. And it gets absolutely massive because it also has the ability, if your opponent activates a monster effect, then you can actually make this card gain 1,000 attack points, which is a really cool ability, but it is a once per turn effect, but it will go up to 4,000 attack points, which is really broken. We then play a single copy of Yugioh. Yugioh is just a really good kaiju that we can search in the deck to basically just out an opponent's monster, plus it's a machine, which is really good to be able to summon in this build. We then play a single copy of Terverion KingJackGames. Terverion KingJackGames is searchable in the deck off of Clockwork Knight, plus this card is a walking negate, which is why I play this card as a 1-of in the build, and it's just very easy to summon out to your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is really good as a 3-of in the deck, because it basically just stops the opponent from touching the deck. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Cyber Rev System. This card is amazing in the deck as a 1-of because it is searchable off your copy of Core, but it is actually a monster reborn for the deck, which is really cool. It lets you special summon a Cyber Dragon from your hand or your graveyard, which is a really cool ability to help you get another monster out on your side of the field. Then play a single copy of Cyber Repair Plant. Cyber Repair Plant is really good, but you can only activate it when you have a Cyber Dragon in your graveyard, but it does let you add a light machine monster from your deck to your hand, which is actually how we search out our kaiju in this deck. We then play a single copy of Power Bond. Power Bond is amazing and helps you fusion summon the exact fusion monster you want to, and doubles the attack points of that monster you fusion summon, which is just amazing to help you OTK your opponent. Plus, it's searchable off of Chimera, which is really cool. We then play a single copy of Cyber Dark Realm. Cyber Dark Realm is great in the deck as 1-of because it is searchable off your copy of Cyber Dragon Core. And when this card is activated, you get to add a Cyber Dark monster from your deck to your hand, which is going to search out your copy of your Cyber Dark Chimera, and then you get to normal summon it out to your side of the field because this card gives you an additional normal summon of a Cyber Dark monster, which is a great effect to get both of them out on your side of the field. Discard a spell or trap, search out Power Bond, and then link summon into a copy of Seeger. Because your copy of Cyber Dragon Core counts as Cyber Dragon while in the field or in the graveyard, you can still use it as fusion material with Power Bond while also getting a link monster out on the field. We then play 2 copies of Machine Duplication. Machine Dupe is just amazing in the deck because this card is broken in this build now that we have Disablaster as well as a target. This card lets you special summon out 2 more machine monsters to your side of the field with the same name as a machine monster that has 500 attack on the field, and Disablaster actually has 500 attack points, which is amazing. Something to keep in mind about this card though is since your copy of your Cyber Dragon Core, Hertz, and Nashter all count as Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard, you will get to actually special summon out 2 copies of the original Cyber Dragon to your side of the field, not more copies of themselves. So that's something to keep in mind about Machine Duplication, but it's really good to be able to play in the deck unless their effects are negated, which in that case, you will actually special summon out more copies of themselves because it will negate the effect of them being counted as Cyber Dragon while in the field or in the grave. We then play 3 copies of Cyber Emergency. This card is basically the Rhoda for the deck and just a really good 3-of in the build. We then play 3 copies of Duality. Duality is also really good as a 3-of because this card lets you tag in and out your light and dark monsters. It lets you tribute a light or dark monster to special summon a light or dark monster from your hand or extra deck with the same original type and level but a different attribute than the monster that you treated, meaning if you tribute a light monster, you have to summon a dark monster. If you tribute a dark monster, you have to tribute a light monster. So basically, if you tribute your copy of Cyber Dragon, you can turn it into a Rampage Dragon, or if you tribute your copy of Fortress, you can turn it into a Twin Dragon, which is just really cool to be able to do. We then play 3 copies of Clockwork Knight. Clockwork Knight is amazing in the deck as a 3-of because it turns every monster on the field into a machine monster. It makes our monsters go up by 500 attack and defense. It makes our opponent's monsters go down by 500 attack and defense points, which is easy to OTK our opponent through this card. The only downside of this card is it does make our monsters go up by 500 attack points, so it will turn off our copy of Machine Duplication, which is why I just play 2 Machine Dupe in this deck now. This card also has the ability you can banish this card in the graveyard, discard a card, and then add an Earth Machine from your deck to your hand, meaning this card can actually search out Terverion KingJackGames, which is amazing. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing 3, and that's going to be 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is a great 3-of to basically stop your opponent's monster effects and also shut down entire columns of spells and traps, which is just really cool to be able to do. I absolutely love this card, and plus it has Cyber Dragon Infinity on it, so we definitely have to play it in the deck. It's really good in this build, and it's one of the best hand traps in the entire game, because it doesn't play into Thrust or Talents, which is just really cool. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with Rampage Dragon. Rampage Dragon is definitely a 1-of in the build and an awesome OTK piece in the deck that can attack multiple times, pop spells and traps on the field, and also help you get your machine monsters into the graveyard, which is just amazing about this card. This card is really cool to be able to fusion summon out, and also is a duality target with your copy of Cyber Dragon. We can play a single copy of Cyber Twin Dragon. Cyber Twin Dragon can attack twice, which is why we play this card in the deck, plus it's also a duality target with your copy of Fortress Dragon. We can play a single copy of Cyber End Dragon. This card is one of my favorite cards in the entire game. It does piercing damage, and it's very easy to summon out by just using 3 Cyber Dragons to make this card. You can summon out this 4,000 attack point boss monster. We can play a single copy of Mega Fleet. Mega Fleet just outs monsters in the extra monster zone, which is why I play this card as a 1-of in the build. You basically contact fuse a monster in the extra monster zone plus a Cyber Dragon monster to be able to make this card. We then play 2 copies of Fortress Dragon. Fortress Dragon is really good as a 2-of in the build because with Clockwork Knight you can basically get rid of your opponent's entire field because they makes monsters on the field become machine monsters, and this card requires machine monsters on either player's side of the field plus a Cyber Dragon monster. It goes up by 1,000 attack points for every monster put into this card. So if your opponent has 5 monsters on the field and you have Clockwork Knight and they're all machines, and you have 1 Cyber Dragon on the field, you can contact fuse your opponent's entire field away to make this card plus your 1 Cyber Dragon to get a 6,000 attack point copy of Fortress Dragon on your side of the field. Plus this card can be used with duality to tag into a copy of Twin Dragon. We can play a single copy of Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel is just really good because we have a lot of ways we can actually summon this card. And it's a fantastic card to be able to make because you don't have to use a tuner to make this card. You just have to use light and dark monsters to make this card. And it gains bonus effects depending on what type of monster you put into it between light and dark. And also it spot removes a card off the field when you summon it out, which is really nice. We then play 2 copies of Infinity, and you guys know you got to play both artworks of Infinity. This card is a walking negating, gobble up monsters and attach it to this card, which is amazing, and it's just an amazing card that gains 200 attack points for each material attached to it. And also you can make this card on the top of your Nova, but you can only special summon this card once per turn. We then play 2 copies of Nova. You play this card to be able to make your copy of Infinity, and it's just really good overall in the deck. You can also detach a material from this card to target a Cyber Dragon in your graveyard and special summon it back to your side of the field, which is an important effect to keep in mind about this card, to basically summon that copy of Cyber Dragon back to your side of the field before you summon your copy of Infinity. You're going to miss out on a Cyber Dragon, which is a little bit bad, but you really need to be able to summon out that Cyber Dragon to your side of the field to OTK. We then play a single copy of Zeus to OTK as well because we can board wipe the field with this card, which is amazing. We made it on top of a copy of Infinity, and it's just really good to be able to make in the deck. We made a single copy of Seeger. Seeger is amazing to help you OTK because it boosts your monster's attack points. 1 copy of SP Little Knight. You could change this card out for Nightmare Phoenix to pop spells and traps, but this card is a double interruption, which is why I play it in the deck. And then finally play a single copy of Alamirage because we can link away a bunch of different Cyber Dragon monsters like our copy of Core or Hertz to be able to get them into the graveyard. And it just helps out a lot overall to be able to link someone into an Alamirage because it gives you a little bit of protection. So that's it for the deck, guys. If you've never played Cyber Dragon before, you should definitely give this deck a try. It's really fun to be able to control the board with cards like Infinity and OTK with cards like Rampage. And if you guys have never played this deck, you should definitely give it a try. I also have combos on the channel for this deck, which you guys should definitely check out. It's really helpful to be able to watch the combo videos on the channel to be able to understand the deck even more and see the combos played out, which you guys should definitely check those out because they're really helpful. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad. I'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.